Hi and welcome to the channel and the bike build. If you're new to the channel, I'm Steve and there is loads of stuff that's happened before now, so go back and watch the old videos. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. The subscriber numbers are going up, but I really need to push it, so press the notification in the corner, press the button down below. It doesn't cost nothing, helps the channel. Also, liking the video helps the channel, or disliking. If you dislike it, please leave me a comment. If you like it, leave me a comment. I always try and reply. This time is a bit of a milestone episode. We are going to start actually putting things back together, so it's a bit of a corner turned. There's still loads of work to do, but things are going to start going back together. Hopefully I can get a rolling chassis this episode and probably more. So like, subscribe, bell notification, go on the community section, vote in the polls, and let's get on with some work. Right, well that was a lot more difficult than it should have been. What the problem was the frame had a little bit of a twist, I think. When I put the back engine bolts in, the front one here, this one, was about a quarter of a hole out, but flexing the frame and getting it in was a bit difficult. I probably should have got someone to give me a hand, to be honest, but you're trying to do it and not chip the paint on the frame. There's a couple of little marks, not bad, but I've got to touch up, so I'll just touch them up. Yeah, well, with this one that being bolted on, that definitely helped. So all the engine mount bolts are in and they're all torqued up. The front one's got new spacers because the spacers had collapsed. Possibly, if the bike's had a drop or a bump at some point, and it's just twisted the frame a little bit, and that could be why them spacers have cracked and why I couldn't get the bolts out before and had to cut them off. So anyway, it could have been done when I was welding. It's just twisted a little bit. I don't know. It's in and it's on. So the next thing is triple clamps on, forks in, front wheel in. So we'll carry on. Not too bad really. Probably should have got someone to help me. So the bike went together, everything went pretty straightforward after once I'd got the engine in. So that was assembled, so I had a rolling chassis so I could move it, and now as you can see the swinging arm is already back out, but all I'm doing is cleaning up, making sure everything's clean, cleaning up the rubber, putting things like that on, cleaning up the ends, the adjusters for the chain, and polishing bolt heads. So could be a bit of a tedious task, but it's sort of strangely satisfying to polish up the bolt heads and get them quite nice and shiny. So the next thing will be put the swinging arm back in. I'm going to do the front end, the forks. I forgot that I was going to put, I got these that go on the front of the forks and protect the fork seals on the front of the forks. These aren't actually off a 2001 Hornet. I think they put them on in 2003, but I'm not going for gaiters, like squishy gaiters. I quite like the look of these, give it a little bit more protection. So these I'm going to put on. These are actually genuine Honda parts, but they're not that expensive. They weren't that expensive, from David Silver. So the forks are coming out to put them on. Then I'm going to go through just cleaning up bolts, making sure things have grease on them, have anti-seize on them. That'll all be tightened up, so anything that's in its final position will be torqued. I'll go through and find anything I can that I can put on the bike, and then I'll take the masking tape off the engine casings as well. It's just bits and pieces which I'm not going to film. You don't want to see me cleaning bolts, but I'll come back when that's done, and then you can see what the bike's up to. And I didn't get a haircut. I'd got the dates mixed up on when the barbers was open, so it'll probably be the next video before I get a haircut, which I am desperate for now. That's it, I think, for this week. Time's got away from me. I've been doing little bolts and putting bits and pieces on. I've got the carb rubbers on and the starter motor. I've got other bits and pieces to put on. Got the chain rubber thing on, old shock still, till I get something else. So it's all bits and pieces going back on the bike. Someone asked about have I got any photographs of other bikes that I've modified. Well, this is really the first one that I've properly modified. I did buy a crash damaged FZ 750 years ago in the 90s, and as was the fashion at the time, Street Fighted it. I managed to get a photograph from the lad I bought it off. Got in touch with him through Facebook, and the lad who bought it off me, I managed to get a photograph of him. When I had it, it was in Loctite Yamaha colours, like pearlescent white. The tank stayed the same, and the seat unit was all in Dayglow red. But he'd repainted it. Doesn't look as nice. But that was basically the first bike I ever modified. That was basically the first bike I ever modified. The only other one I've modified since then, and I had a bit of help with that, was a ZXR 750, and that was heavily modified when the young lad driving a Astra pulled out in front of me and took me off at fairly high speeds. So that's the only other modified one. So next time, continue cleaning bolts and putting bolts and things in. I'm going to clean the carbs up. I'm not going to strip the carbs to clean them yet, because I want to see how the bike runs first, and then I'll maybe I will have to fiddle with the jetting and everything. I've got the ignition barrel to modify slightly and then to mount. Getting electrical things on and getting the cables in nice and neat, getting ready for putting the wiring loom back on, and any other bits and pieces. Painting things, little brackets. These are for the coils. Painting things like that, putting them back on the bike. Maybe paint the footrests. And also, so this is what the bike looks like now. Got it out the garage the other day, so the carb rubbers weren't on. But this is what the bike basically looks like now, and I give the casings a quick rub over so you can see what they look like as if they were polished. Let me know what you think. Vote in the poll. Do I keep them and polish them properly like that, or do I paint them out black? That's the choice. Let me know what you think. So there's other bits and pieces to clean, paint, polish, and we'll continue with that next week, and I'll get as much bits onto the bike as possible so that I haven't got bits hanging around in the garage. And then there's the seat unit to modify slightly. Everybody thinks I should paint the back tail part of it, so that's got to be modified slightly. That's to do. There's the tank to clean out with a rust cleaner and seal, just to be 100% certain that it's not leaking. Then there's obviously paint on the tank, there's headlights. There's all sorts to do yet. But so next time, carbs, more stuff going back on, so you'll see the bike progress. So don't forget, subscribe, like the video, vote in the poll, and I will see you next Wednesday.